Chapter 8. Another ally, another problem. Leaving the suite, the trio bumped into a woman walking by.
"Oh, terribly sorry, madam. Forgive me. My name is Bond. James Bond."
Amanda Woodbury. I am now not surprised the first words out of your mouth would be some way of charming me.
Siletti and Cheryl helped Bond by picking her up. Don't mind him. That's just the way he is. Forgive me now. How did you know who he was? Siletti started to reach for his gun, but it wasn't there. Bond did the same, but it too was not there.
Boys, didn't Q, MI6, CIA, or anybody tell you to always bring a backup?
Cheryl then raised a pant leg and started to reach for a gun wrapped around a garter belt she was wearing. Cheryl, I never thought, Siletti began to say,
that a girl like me could have a thing like this. Please. Besides, I'm fresh out. Mine's missing too.
Amanda then whistled fairly loud and revealed to them that she was holding each of their guns.
Now, I'm assuming that one of you has some sort of disguised weapon that I'm surprised you didn't use on me. However, before you use that, I suggest you take into account that Walther PPKs are not usually American Secret Service standards.
Bond and Siletti seemed perplexed by what Amanda had just said. American Secret Service? As in presidential? Siletti questioned.
The very same. Seems like POTUS has some sort of admiration for you, Mr. Bond. He got word by some fellas named Felix Leiter and Alex Match about your predicament. Those guys seem to care about you greatly, and the president owes you his life. He wants you to have a high-ranking officer with you when you're taking down this Smithworks lunatic.
Amanda then came over and handed Bond, Siletti, and Cheryl their Walthers. She then accompanied them all. Bond would occasionally lift his arm, but Amanda would snap right back at him.
Watch it, Bond. If that hand moves anywhere that I don't like, it's going to be more than Smithworks that you have beef with. Besides, there's a time and a place.
Bond raised an eyebrow at how Amanda had ended her statement.
I'll go see if I can set up my surveillance and tap into Smithworks' suite. I'll meet up with you later.
Cheryl left the group and headed back towards their hotel. Back in the suite, Stanford paced back and forth as Smithworks and Sandra went over parts of the plan and what the next show was going to be.
I don't get it. I just don't get it. How could you just let them walk out like that, with their weapons? Why didn't you just kill them right then and there? You had the perfect opportunity.
At that moment, Smithworks got up and advanced towards Stanford and pushed him up against a wall.
Don't you ever say that something is perfect when I know it isn't. I'm the one who gets to decide when something is perfect or not. I'm the perfectionist, not you. Got it?
Smithworks began to loosen his grip on Stanford.
I know what I'm doing. Killing him now would have been way too easy and not big enough. I tried to give him a chance to explain himself, and he never did. I tried to let him get to know me, and instead someone else here got a little closer than I did. Too close, in fact.
Smithworks turned over to Sandra, who was hiding her head in her hands. She then poked up to see her husband glaring at her.
Well, dear, you have to admit there is a certain charm about him. That voice, if anything.
May I remind you that he had a hand in killing one of your relatives? One of those paintings is someone that you belong to. Don't you want to get the man responsible for ending that life?
Sandra looked away for a minute, sighed, then agreed with Smithworks. Smithworks then returned to a table that he and Sandra were sitting at, and motioned for Stanford to come over. They went over another way to capture Bond in Orlando.
This is our next performance. If they can't get him now, the next spot is there.
Who's they? Stanford asked.
Associates,
Smithworks answered. Exiting Smithworks' hotel, a multitude of black cars pulled up to the door. Out stepped two types of men. Some were wearing nice black suits, others were wearing more hand-me-down ones. They don't seem like MI6 personnel, Siletti said.
Could have fooled me if they were Secret Service,
Amanda added. All right, which one of you guys is James Bond? A leader of the hand-me-down suit wearers asked.
We're trying to ask very nicely here. We don't want any trouble.
A man spoke up from the nicer suit wearers in a French accent. If I had to guess, with an accent like that, you, sir, in the dirtier clothes are from Metropolis. Not to mention the way that you're holding that gun reminds me of the way folks of Intergang hold their guns.
Here, I thought Metropolis was just another name for New York,
said Bond. Actually, it's located in Delaware. Bond was fascinated by his partner's fact, but only for a moment.
Regardless, you, sir, sound as if you hail from France, and your attire is nicely tailored. Perhaps a member of Interpol, are you? Then again, I could have just caught a glimpse of the badge that you were poorly trying to hide.
The agents of both groups started to approach quicker. Amanda then grabbed a pearl that she had around her neck and threw it to the ground. A cloud of smoke erupted from the pearl. The others fled. Bond took Amanda's hand and 00 Sletty ran behind him. They ran through the streets of Austin and would occasionally come across an agent. A crossfire then would commence. "Running from the law is not the thing I had imagined doing all this time," 00 Sletty said.
"Part of the job,"
Bond replied. At one point they had hit an ambush. They took cover behind a set of stairs. Bullet after bullet, the groups and the spies fired. 00 Sletty started looking at his watch more and more. "Are you really checking the time at a time like this?" Amanda worried. "No, the dart missile. I'm wondering if I should use it. I thought you'd think that we'd have something like that because of your pearl, and because you mentioned it." "We have our own version of Mr. Q. His name is... oh, it doesn't matter. Aim it at the Intergang people, not Interpol." 00 Sletty got up and looked for a shot. "James, cover me."
"Always, my friend."
00 Sletty looked for a shot. Finally, he aimed and fired. The dart hit the lead member of Intergang. He started to fall, and his gun went off, causing a chain reaction of the other members of Intergang and Interpol to get injured. The lead member of Intergang was dead. Now that it's been launched, why don't you say we dart out of here ourselves? Let's meet up with Cheryl and see if she's found anything about Smithworks' next spot.